Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today we're going to be drafting a basic bodice for a 3 months old child and for a 1 year 7 months old child. So let's proceed with the drafting. To get your pattern, okay, because we're going to be drafting the front and the back together. Now the widest part of her body, we'll start with the 1 year 7 months old. Okay, so the widest part of her body is her chest, and her chest is 19. Now we're going to divide the 19 over 2 now, and that will give us 9.5. Now because this pattern, we're going to be imputing all our allowances. Okay, so you go ahead and add, we'll be adding allowance of 1.5. So half of her chest is 9.5. We'll add 4 inches to that, okay, and that will give us 13.5. So we'll round that up to 14, okay, and we'll divide it by 2. So that's 7 and 7. Now to know the extent of the pattern, her half length from her shoulder to her waist is 8.5. Okay, so I'll go ahead and measure out 9. Okay, so I'll connect these lines. Okay, so let's label. We'll call here our back. Okay, and here is our front. Okay, so let's proceed. Now the next thing we're going to do is to mark her shoulder. Okay, so her shoulder is 8.5 over 2. Okay, so that's 4.25. We'll go ahead and mark our 4.25, and we're adding her joining allowance of 0.5. Okay, now the allowances are optional if you want to draft your pattern without allowance, but I'm drafting this one with allowance. Okay, so shoulder over 2 is 4.25, and then we're adding a half inch for joining, that's 4.75. Now to get her neck width, we'll do her chest round divided by 12. Okay, now her chest round is 19. Okay, so 19 over 12. Now I rounded that up to 1.75. So her neck width is 1.75. Okay, that's for the back. So for the back, I'm using 1.75 by 1.5. okay, for the back. Now I'll go ahead and connect these lines. Okay, because I may still reshape that. Okay, now we're sloping the back with ½ inch. Okay, so I'll go ahead and connect that to my shoulder tip. Okay, so let's mark the front. Now remember, her shoulder is 8.5 over 2, that's 4.25, plus 0.5 joining allowance, that's 4.75. Then her neck width is 1.75. So her neck width is 1.75 by 1.75 for the front. So I'll connect that as well. Now we're sloping the front with 1 inch. Okay, this is a standard. Now I'll go ahead and connect that to the neck width. Okay, now let me darken the neck. So here we have it. Now let's proceed. To get her chest line, we're going to do her chest round over 4 minus 1. And remember, her chest round is 19. So 19 over 4 minus 1, that will give us 3.75. Okay, so we'll go ahead and place that from the front. Okay, remember we sloped the front with 1 inch. So we'll mark our 3.75 here. Now, because we need the line to run across, so we'll simply take our tape back to the starting point. And to that point, what we have there is 4.75. So we'll mark 4.75 across this line, okay? Now I'll go ahead and connect that with a straight line. Okay, so this is her chest line. Okay, chest line. Now let's proceed. Her half length is 8.5. We'll place our tape from here to the starting point. We'll place our tape from the starting point, okay? Now it's 8.5 plus half inch for joining, okay? That gives us 9, okay? Remember we've marked this before, okay? So it's 8.5 plus a half inch for joining, that's 9, okay? And we already have the line here. So this is her half length, okay? Now let's proceed. So on the chest line, we'll mark her shoulder divided by 2 again, plus half. Now her shoulder is 8.5 over 2. That's 4.25 plus half inch for joining, 4.75. Okay, we'll go ahead and connect this with a broken line because we don't make use of this line eventually. Okay, we'll repeat the same for on the front as well. Shoulder over 2 plus half, that's 4.75. Okay, I'll connect as well. Now we'll go ahead and mark. Okay, now we'll take the midpoint of this line. Now to get your midpoint, just place your tape to rest on the chest line and fold it into 2. Okay, now at that point you make a mark. Okay, now for the front, we'll go in by half an inch and we'll connect to the shoulder tip like so. Okay, now we'll do the same on the back as well. We take the entire line and we'll fold it into 2. Make a mark at the middle. Now this dress is a sleeveless, okay? So for the back, instead of going in by 0.5, we'll go in by 0.25 for the back. So let's proceed. Now her chest round is 19 over 4, that's 4.75. We'll go ahead and place our tape on the chest line and mark our 4.75. Okay, now we're adding 1.5 sewing allowance. Okay, now we're adding 1.5 inches sewing allowance to that. Okay, so this is our 1.5. Now her waist round is 20 and 20 over 4 is 5. Make a mark there. We're also adding 1.5 inches sewing allowance. Okay, so connect these lines. We'll do the same on the front as well. Chest line over 2 over 4 is 4.75. This is 4.75 plus 1.5 sewing allowance. Waist round is 20 over 4 is 5. Plus our 1.5 inches as well. So we'll connect. Now on the chest line, I like to go up by 0.5, especially when the dress is a sleeveless. Okay, this is to ensure that the armhole is not deep. Okay, now I like to go up by 0.5 on the chest line, okay, for a sleeveless dress. Okay, so now I'll connect this. I'll do the same on the back as well. Okay, now you just blend. Now we're almost done, so the next thing to do is just to extend. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is to extend this line downwards, and here it is. We're almost done. Okay, now since we're adding all our allowances, I'll add my 1-inch zip allowance. Okay, now the allowance I have here already is 1 inch, so I'll go ahead and add my 1-inch zip allowance. Now my back piece and the front piece is ready. So the final thing to do is to add our joining allowance on the shoulder, allowance of 0.5. Okay, now connect that. Okay, now we need to extend this line. Now on the neckline, I like to maintain my neckline, so I'll go ahead and add my 0.5 joining allowance on my neckline. I don't want it deeper than this. Okay, so for my neckline, I'll extend the line up. Okay, then I'll use my marker pen to blend this line. Now this is it for the front. I'll repeat the same on the back. I'll add my 0.5 joining allowance on the shoulder like so. Okay, I'll connect that. Okay, then I'll extend this line upwards. Okay, then I'll go ahead and add my turning allowance on the neckline. And that's it, guys, we're done. This is the pattern for a 1 year 7 months old. Okay, okay, so this is the back and this is the front. Okay, so this is it, we're done. Now let's proceed to draft the pattern for the 3 months old. Okay, so as usual, I've just taken my marginal line. Now the widest part of her body is her waist, and her waist is 18. 18 over 2 is 9. I'll go ahead and add 4 inches to that. Okay, so that will give me 13. Okay, so I'll divide that by 2 and that will give me 6.5. From her shoulder to her waist is 6.5. Okay, we'll go ahead and add ½ inch to that and that will give us 7. Okay, so here we have it. So we'll call here our back and here is our front. Okay, so let's proceed with the markings. Her shoulder is 7.5. Okay, so her shoulder is 7.5 and 7.5 over 2, that's 3.75. We're also adding ½ inch for joining, so that gives us 4.25. Okay, now her neck width is her chest round over 12. Okay, now I rounded that up to 1.6. So her neck width for the back is 1.6 by 1.5. Okay, remember we're sloping the shoulder with ½ inch for the back. I'll go ahead and connect these points. Okay, now we'll repeat the same for the front. Her neck width, her shoulder is 3.75 plus ½ inch for joining, that's 4.25. Her neck width is 1.6. Okay, so her neck depth is 1.6 as well. and then we're sloping the front with 1 inch. So I'll go ahead and connect these points. Okay, so to get her chest line, we'll do her chest round over 4 minus 1. Now her chest round is 17 over 4 is 4.25 minus 1. That will give us 3.25. So we're placing it from the front, okay, and we'll mark our 3.25. Okay, mark our 3.25 here. Now we'll take it back to the starting point because the line, chest line, needs to run to the back. So that will give us 4.25. Okay, now I'll mark that across this line. Then I'll go ahead and connect. Okay, so this is my chest line. Okay, now let's proceed. On the chest line, we'll repeat her shoulder measurement over 2, and her shoulder is 7.5, which is 3.75 plus half. For joining, that's 4.25. Okay, and then we'll connect. We'll repeat the same on the front as well. Now we'll take the middle of this line. At that point, we'll go in by 1/2 inch for the front. Okay, and we'll connect to the shoulder tip. So now we'll repeat the same on the back. Now for the back, the dress is going to have a sleeve. So for the back, we'll go in by 0.5 as well. Okay, okay, now let's proceed to mark her chest round. Her chest round is 17 over 4, that's 4.25. Then we're adding 1.5 inches sewing allowance. Okay, now her waist round is 18 over 4, that's 4.5. We're also adding 1.5 inches sewing allowance. Okay, now I'll go ahead and connect these lines together. Okay, now as usual on my chest line, I go up by 1/2 inch. Now I'll connect my curve. I'll do the same on the front. Her chest round over 4, that's 4.25 plus 1.5. Her waist round over 4 is 4.5 plus 1.5, and I'll connect these lines together. Remember, we're equally going up from the chest line by 0.5. Let's go ahead and connect our armhole. Now, the final thing we're doing is to add our 0.5 joining allowance on the shoulder. Now, on the neckline as well, I'll go ahead and add my 1/2 inch. Okay, and that's it for the front. I'll repeat the same on the back. Now remember our zip allowance of 1 inch. Okay, so my allowance here is already 1 inch. I'll simply extend this line. All right, and here we have it. This is for a 3-month-old child. So this is the front, and this is the back. All right, so I'll go ahead and cut these patterns out. Okay, so this is her pattern. Now I'll cut the one for pattern for the 1 month, 1 year 7 months old. Okay, and here we have it. This is the back and this is the front for the 1 year 7 months old, and this is the back and front for the 3 months old child. Okay, now in my next video I'm going to be making use of these patterns, okay, to cut and sew a dress. Okay, now I'll see you guys. Kindly subscribe if you have not. Okay, I appreciate you, and I'll see you. Bye.